Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we blend casual conversations with insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets. Today, we're diving into a pool of fascinating tech news. We've got everything from AI showdowns to regulatory shakeups, and even a peek into the surprisingly complex world of dinosaur droppings.
Okay, maybe not a deep dive on that last one, but you get the picture.
Exactly. It's going to be a wild ride.
Sounds like a full plate. What's first on the menu?
Well, let's kick things off with Bluesky. They've been making waves with their rapid growth, hitting a whopping 20 million users.
Oh,
And even gaining a million in just one day on November 15th.
that's a lot of new voices.
That's a lot of new voices joining the conversation. But this sudden popularity has put them in the spotlight, especially with EU regulators.
Yeah. What's interesting here is that Bluesky is now actively working to comply with EU regulations after facing some criticism. Their rapid rise highlights how the social media landscape is shifting, and regulators are scrambling to catch up. It's a classic case of technology outpacing the rules.
So for those of us enjoying these new platforms, this is a reminder that things could change as regulators figure out how to navigate this evolving world. It's almost like the Wild West of social media out there.
Right.
But hey, at least it's not boring. Right.
Definitely not boring. And speaking of things that could change, the FTC is turning up the heat on smart gadget makers. They've issued a warning about the lack of clarity in software support policies.
Oh, right. I read something about that. It seems like a lot of companies aren't being upfront about how long they'll provide updates for their devices.
Exactly. The FTC found that most companies aren't clearly disclosing this information, which could actually be a violation of warranty laws.
Yeah.
And to make matters worse, finding this information can be like searching for a needle in a haystack. Even with tools like Google's AI overview sometimes pointing us in the wrong direction.
It's like they're expecting us to be tech detectives just to figure out how long our gadgets will be supported.
Yeah.
I'll admit, I don't usually think about that when I'm caught up in the excitement of buying the latest and greatest gizmo.
Yeah, it's easy to get swept up in the hype. But this FTC warning is a good reminder to do our homework before we hit that buy button. Maybe we need to start demanding more transparency from these companies about the lifespan of our devices.
Absolutely. Speaking of excitement, the AI world is buzzing with activity, particularly in the chatbot arena.
Oh, yeah.
We've got Alibaba throwing down the gauntlet, challenging OpenAI,
Really?
and Elon Musk's xAI gearing up to launch its Grok chatbot app by December.
Wow.
It's like a digital showdown brewing.
It's a fascinating time to be watching the AI space unfold. We've got big players like Alibaba and a swarm of startups all vying for dominance in the chatbot market. This kind of competition is a breeding ground for innovation. It'll be interesting to see who comes out on top and what new capabilities emerge from this digital arms race.
It's like the early days of the internet all over again, with everyone scrambling to establish their foothold. Remember the browser wars? Netscape versus Internet Explorer.
Oh, yeah.
It feels like we're on the verge of a similar shakeup, with lots of exciting possibilities, maybe a few casualties along the way.
You're right. There are definitely parallels there. But let's step away from the digital battlefield for a moment and explore some other fascinating corners of the tech world. On one hand, we've got researchers developing a potential gold-based cancer drug that's showing incredible promise. And on the other hand, we've got scientists delving into the surprisingly complex world of dinosaur poop analysis.
It's amazing how technology touches such diverse fields, isn't it? From fighting diseases to uncovering secrets buried in prehistoric dung. Now that's what I call a deep dive.
Well, maybe not literally in the case of the dinosaur droppings, but both of these stories highlight how science and technology are constantly pushing boundaries and expanding our understanding of the world around us.
It makes you wonder what other surprising discoveries are lurking just around the corner. I guess that's why we keep tuning into Bite-Sized Tech, right? To stay ahead of the curve and see what amazing things humans are capable of achieving with technology.
Absolutely. And speaking of amazing things, have you heard about this AI tool that can convert screenshots into code?
Wait, you're telling me I can just take a picture of code and have it magically appear in my text editor? That sounds like something straight out of a science fiction movie.
It might sound like science fiction, but it's actually a reality thanks to a tool called Screenshot to Code. It's powered by advanced AI models like Claude Sonnet 3.5 and GPT-4o, which are essentially like super smart computer brains that can understand and interpret images. And to make things even more impressive, this tool can even generate images itself using Dale 3 or Flux Schnell. Talk about versatility.
So not only can it understand code from a screenshot, but it can also create images. That's mind-blowing. It makes me wonder what other creative applications people will come up with for this technology.
The possibilities are endless. And speaking of creative applications, there's also this GitHub repository called the bread code.
Hold on. The bread code.
Yeah.
That sounds like a recipe for disaster. Is this some kind of joke?
Yeah. Not at all. It's actually a meticulously crafted guide to sourdough baking, complete with flowcharts, tables, and even illustrations. It's a testament to the dedication and passion of the baking community, and a reminder that technology can be applied to even the most unexpected areas of our lives.
Okay, I have to admit, that's pretty cool. It's like the ultimate sourdough Bible for tech-savvy bakers who knew such a thing existed.
It just goes to show that you never know what you'll find when you start digging around online.
Yeah.
And that's what makes exploring the tech world so fascinating.
Exactly. It's a constant source of surprises and inspiration. But for now, we're going to take a quick pause to recharge our circuits. When we come back, we'll be diving into more tech news, so stay tuned.
Sounds good. Welcome back to Byte-Sized Tech. Before the break, we were exploring the exciting world of AI and some unexpected applications of technology like the bread code.
Right. Who knew sourdough baking could be so high-tech? But now let's shift gears and talk about something a little more serious.
Okay.
The Department of Justice's plan to end Google's search monopoly. This is a big one, folks.
It's a landmark case for sure. The DOJ is proposing some pretty radical remedies, including forcing Google to syndicate its search results or even selling off its Chrome browser. These changes could significantly impact Google's core business, potentially shaving billions of dollars off its empire.
Wow, that's a huge deal. It's almost hard to imagine a world without Google dominating the search landscape. It's been such a constant in our digital lives.
It has, hasn't it? But the DOJ's argument is that this dominance stifles innovation and hurts competition.
Right.
They're not alone in this concern. Remember the CrowdStrike outage earlier this year? That incident highlighted the potential risks associated with centralized control in the tech industry.
That's a good point. It's like putting all your eggs in one basket. If that basket breaks, everyone's in trouble. But on the flip side, haven't innovations like Google Maps and Gmail made our lives easier?
They certainly have, and that's the heart of the debate. There are valid arguments on both sides. Some believe that breaking up Google would create a more diverse and innovative tech ecosystem, while others worry about potential disruptions and unintended consequences.
It's like a tech version of that butterfly effect thing. One small change could have ripple effects across the entire digital world. What about Chrome? Any idea what might happen to it if Google has to sell it off?
There's already a lot of speculation about potential buyers. Amazon and Meta come to mind, but they might face antitrust concerns themselves. It's a complicated situation, and the outcome is still uncertain. This story is far from over, and it will be interesting to see how it all unfolds.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. Now, on a different note, let's talk about the global battle over computer chips. These tiny components power everything from our smartphones and laptops to cars and even advanced weapon systems. Access to these chips has become a major geopolitical issue.
It's incredible how much power and influence is concentrated in these tiny pieces of silicon. They're the unsung heroes of the digital age, driving innovation and shaping the future.
It's like they're the building blocks of modern technology. But all this talk about monopolies and global competition can sometimes make the tech world feel a bit cutthroat. It's good to remember that technology can also be a force for good in the world.
Absolutely. We see examples of this every day. For instance, India is expanding its electric vehicle manufacturing incentives to encourage existing automakers to embrace cleaner transportation solutions. That's a big step toward a more sustainable future.
That's a great example. And speaking of innovation born out of necessity, look at Huawei. They developed a unique hybrid SSD tape storage drive due to export restrictions. It's a testament to human ingenuity and adaptability in the face of challenges.
Exactly. And let's not forget about the everyday ways technology is making our lives better. Productivity apps like Craft are helping people stay organized and manage their busy schedules more efficiently.
It's amazing how far we've come from the days of paper planners and sticky notes. Though I have to admit I still have a soft spot for my old G-Shock watch. Speaking of which, did you hear that Casio is releasing a new G-Shock that's practically identical to the original model from 1983?
I did. It's a classic design that stood the test of time. Sometimes the old ways are the best.
I totally agree. It's a fun reminder that even in the fast-paced world of tech, some things are timeless.
Speaking of blasts from the past, guess who's making a comeback? Reddit. They're planning to expand their international growth by focusing on markets like the UK, India, Brazil, and the Philippines.
That's interesting. I always thought Reddit had a pretty global reach already.
They do have a large global user base, but most of their revenue still comes from the US. So this expansion makes sense from a business perspective.
It makes you wonder what kind of new communities and content will emerge as Reddit taps into these diverse markets.
It'll be fascinating to see how the platform evolves and adapts to these new audiences. Who knows? Maybe we'll discover some hidden Reddit gems along the way.
I'm always up for a good Reddit rabbit hole. But before we get lost in those, maybe we should wrap up this part of our bite-sized tech adventure.
Sounds good to me. We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have. From the potential breakup of Google to the global race for computer chips, and even a nostalgic trip down memory lane with G-Shock watches and Reddit, it's been quite a ride. But we're not done yet. When we come back, we'll have some final thoughts to share and a question to leave you pondering. So stay tuned.
Welcome back to Byte-Sized Tech. We've been on quite a journey today exploring the ever-evolving landscape of technology.
We have, from the potential dismantling of Google's search empire to the global scramble for computer chips and even a touch of nostalgia with G-Shocks and Reddit's comeback. It's been a whirlwind of information.
It really highlights how technology permeates every aspect of our lives, shaping our present and influencing our future.
It's mind-boggling when you think about it. But that's what makes it so fascinating, right? There's always something new to discover, something that challenges our assumptions and sparks our curiosity.
Exactly. And that's what we aim to do here on Byte-Sized Tech, to break down complex topics, offer insights, and hopefully inspire you to explore the world of technology with a fresh perspective.
Speaking of fresh perspectives, before we wrap things up, I wanted to touch on something we discussed earlier. The incredible speed at which technology is evolving. It's like a runaway train, and it's hard to predict what's around the next bend.
It's true. Think about how much has changed just in the past year. New platforms have emerged, AI has taken center stage, and the battle for technological dominance is heating up on a global scale.
It makes you wonder, what will the tech landscape look like a year from now? What new innovations will emerge? What challenges will we face?
Those are great questions, and honestly, I don't have all the answers, but that's part of the excitement, isn't it? The tech world is full of surprises, and the only certainty is that things will continue to change at a rapid pace.
Well said. So as we sign off for today, I'll leave you with a thought to ponder. Given this breakneck speed of innovation, what tech story do you think will dominate the headlines this time next week?
That's a tough one. But I'm sure it'll be something captivating, something that pushes boundaries and makes us rethink what's possible.
Couldn't agree more. So keep your eyes peeled, your ears open, and your minds curious. The future of tech is unfolding before our very eyes, and it's an adventure we're all a part of. Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed the episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.